Coach Ro. What's the deal, Coach? What's happening?
Good afternoon, everyone. As I'm representing
Oh,
my bad boys today, which as you can see, I even put on the hard work shirt. We're going to will my Detroit Pistons to a win. I know we're talking about WNBA. Want to get into that. And I am a staunch advocate of getting a Detroit WNBA team back here. It should have never left. Detroit Shock was one of the best things since sliced bread. I had season tickets. I used to sit there. It's when I first met my wife. There was a date game. We would sit there. I loved it. It was very cost effective. And I love the team. I love the energy. We need to get a WNBA team back in Detroit. We have the money. We have the arena. We have the infrastructure. Let's get it done, NBA. So any NBA representatives watching, we need the WNBA back in Detroit. Yes.
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 Today we're not just talking WNBA. We're gonna just talk. It's just the women's hoop edition.
Yes.
But before we get started, Coach, if you would please share. I want a pint-sized Coke today. Something new I'm trying. Your affinity for the women's game.
Yes.
Especially because there are so many men who are like, boo, it's not over the rim enough. It's not above the rim enough.
Mm-hmm.
If you could share how you got into it and all that stuff. Appreciate it.
Great question. So first and foremost, I always tell young individuals that are learning and coming up in this sport, if you want to learn how to play the game, watch the WNBA. They run their plays to a T. They're very precise. They're very fundamentally sound. They show you that aside from the athleticism of playing above the rim, that basketball is a game that's played. It starts in the mind. You have to have some wit, and you have to have some structure, and you have to have some drive. Just watching WNBA basketball is like poetry in motion. It's beautiful to watch the way the ball moves from side to side, which is one of the first things you learn when you're getting into organized basketball. Move the ball from side to side. The backdoor cuts that you see, the strategies from the coaches bringing in players. I would argue and say that small ball kind of originated with international women's basketball. I was first turned on to women's basketball watching it on the Olympic level. I'm talking Pan Am games. Way back, I was looking at, I'm going to get her name for next segment. There was a Brazilian player that I loved. I forgot her name, but I would watch the Pan Am games, the Olympic games, just to see this young lady handle
it's not Perot, is it?
basketball.
It's not Perot that played in Houston, is it?
Not
Perot. The one that I think she passed, she succumbed to cancer. She's a hell of a ball player too.
Yeah.
I think she was Brazilian.
So my affinity to it is just seeing how, and then like the play calls, just the precision of the game, seeing the fundamental aspects of it. That's my affinity towards WNBA basketball because, again, they show you how to maneuver through these. And you know what also I like? I like that despite the misconception that there always has to be this hate on the court, you don't see a lot of that in the WNBA. Not a lot of hate. Not a lot of, big brawls or things like that, or people even promoting that. It's just good basketball. Good. It's great to watch. That's my affinity with it. That's the short version. I could say more, but that's my short answer.
Does the women's game need an above the rim aspect?
I think that it's evolving to that because you have a few athletes that are bringing that to the women's game right now. The closest thing to flashy would be some of the behind the back passes, some of the ball handling that we're seeing. But I do think that there needs to be some above the rim. So I think I know where you're going with this because we've been talking about this for some time now off camera. I'm on the fence about the 9'5" rim. I'm on the fence about that.
It's just that, like,
I think it
when
would.
when you see Brittany Griner dunk, this is not a knock on Brittany. It's not a knock on Candace. Not a knock on any of them. Lisa, when you see the dunk, I mean, for me as a female, it's like, yeah, wow, okay. I remember when I just was trying to touch the net. So to see these women put it down in the game, and I hear Sylvia Fowles really can throw it down. I have to do some research there. And I guess eventually, like the dunk evolved in the NBA, you'll get more and more people that are doing it. But does the game need that to be successful?
I don't think it needs
outside of okay, yeah, she dunked it. I haven't seen a dunk in the WNBA that was like dunk contest worthy, or ooh, he throwed it. Nothing is, nothing is getting me out my seat like that, right?
Well,
so
there has to be multiple.
But
there will have to be multiple.
But Malaysia's pass had the whole world talking, right?
Exactly.
Had the whole basketball world talking. So I don't know that it needs that aspect as much as it needs to develop the things that we can do in pockets. That I think fits more with the entire league versus just some one-offs. It's nice to see the dunks. I'm not gonna lie. If I had those hops, I would try to put it down too. But I don't know that the game needs that to be successful.
No, and I would agree. I think that here's the thing: if you get to that point, you would need multiple individuals that can bring that to the table. My fear about that being a necessity, you will have maybe 2 or 3 teams that would intentionally go out and find somebody that can do that. But now it's going to take away from the fundamental soundness of the game. And the other teams that are, it's almost like, no disrespect to the great Tim Duncan, you would look at the other teams like, okay, yeah, they're fundamentally sound, but so what? Everybody paid their money to come see this one player get a dunk in the game, and everything else is going to be disregarded now. So until you can get to the point where every team has somebody that can do that, it's not going to be a needed fashion of the game, in my opinion.
I don't know if you need a team. I don't know that you need a team where everybody can do it, because I think
no. I mean, at least one person on each team.
I don't know that you need one person from each team, because I think the dunk grew in the NBA with like Dr. J. You had Dr. Funkenstein, but Michael and Dominique too, right? I don't think every team had somebody dunking, but you knew when those flyers was on, you was gonna see some above the rim action. So it brought eyeballs to the sets.
But let me introduce this. I think that the WNBA, or women's basketball period, I think they're going to normalize more deep shooting. We see it in the NBA, see it a little bit in college. There's some WNBA and collegiate players that can shoot from pretty far out.
Now, I thought that I would see more Stephs than I would see MJs in the women's game. I thought I would see them a little bit sooner. You got your Caitlin Clarks. You got your, y'all know I can't say her name, so Sabrina. Yeah, that's cool. I just say it real fast. Yeah, that's cool. Straight up. I think it's Ionescu. Sabrina Ionescu. Yeah, that's cool. You see it, kind of out there in pockets. So I definitely think it's an aspect that we could bring into the women's game quicker than we could bring in high flying slam dunks that really get people out their seats, or high flying dunks that would bring more males to the seats. Although it's interesting to me, a lot of the NBA players seem like they genuinely are interested in the WNBA games, because they show up and check them out. They seem like they pay attention in college, because I see them tweeting and making comments about the ladies. So I guess it's just that fair weather, or that fringe male fan that might could bring in. And I don't know how much more money that would bring into the WNBA for the focus to be there.
Well, and then here's the thing. So I think we're talking about two separate things. If we're talking about for men, let me just talk about the elephant in the room. many men are going to watch what would be considered as attractive players.
Sure, and the players have gotten more.
That's what they want to see.
Listen, listen. The one thing about on the Sessions Live channel, we keep it real. Sex sells.
Mm-hmm.
Sex sells. These ladies, and I think, and I'm glad you brought this up. These ladies, especially with the introduction of social media and profiles and NIL deals and being able to see these women off the court, get a much better opportunity to show their feminine side. Now, I'm just a tomboy. I'm an auntie with uncle tendencies. I was never gonna put the heels on, hair down sometimes, but never was gonna put the heels on, the dress, the makeup. Wasn't me. But I appreciate that the game has grown enough where people can understand that not all of the women that play the game have to be aunties with uncle tendencies. They don't have to be tomboys. They don't have to be lesbians. They don't have to be classified as anything but ballers. And I can't speak to what people's and I don't even want to make assumptions about what people's sexual preferences are, but I think you have the Asia Wilsons, the Angel Reeses, some of these other ladies that are out there that are really girly girl off the court, and handle their business on the court. And I think that there's really a lane now for that wasn't there before with some of the other leagues. I don't know that was the story, or if it was as acceptable, or even covered, how feminine these women were off the court when Cheryl Miller was playing, and you had the McGee twins and Teresa Witherspoon,
and just as a man watching the game, I remember seeing Cheryl Swoop saying, "Oh my, she's gorgeous." I remember seeing Sue Bird saying, "Oh wow." She's, gorgeous. Okay. What flash forward to Skylar Diggins? Oh man, it was like,
oh man, they put Skylar through the ringer. I'm glad to see Skylar.
Exactly, and we'll have to dive into that one of these shows where Skylar, and I saw an interview where she mentioned, in her humble opinion, that was kind of held against her. Kelsey Plum was another one, gorgeous.
Well, with Skylar, we also had the leaking of the photos.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it was intentional.
Her team situation.
Did it. Her team did it. Her team did
it. There were some. They try to put a lot of red flags around Skylar. So I'm glad that she was able to.
The show are only our thoughts and opinions. I think her team did it.
Yeah, for sure.
When I saw her courtside with Lil Wayne and getting all of that buzz, I said, yeah, they did it.
So, and I feel like sometimes they have to take some risks to get their names out there. But I'm glad to see that that's changing as the NIL deals are coming, as more NBA players, and I hate to even admit it, but it seems like the more NBA players and the more males that we have around the game legitimizes it more for the masses, which is unfortunate, but understood.
But wouldn't that only be fair, though? I mean, wasn't it the same with the men's game when you had more corporations, more large businesses getting a piece of the advertisements? That's what boosted the NBA game. I think that, it's a little uncomfortable that it seems as if there needs to be more of a male presence to promote the game, but I think it's the same type of energy. You need that exterior entity to bring more attention to the game. And for those that saw our show that was just posted from this morning, we were talking about the late great Kobe Bean Bryant, who was trending in the direction of bringing attention to the women's game, not just college, but also the WNBA. So it will take players like that. When you see a LeBron or Durant sitting courtside at a WNBA game, that brings attention to the game. They're tweeting about it, like you said. They're having interviews about it. They're talking about how they watched these players the exchange between who was that? Well, Carmelo Anthony, although it was kind of a negative, they said it was inappropriate contact or something. Who did he have a hug with? He hugged somebody. Was it Ionescu? Somebody.
Maybe
It was
I don't
one of
remember.
the players, and they're like, "Oh, was that inappropriate?" And I'm like, "Wow!" Just because he's a man and it's a player in the WNBA, I mean, players hug all the time. Now all of a sudden, but anyway, that's a whole nother segment. But
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
we'll have to deep dive in that.
yeah,
I don't know what was going on there. I mean,
yeah.
if I think anybody who who's a basketball fan and runs across Carmelo, you gonna dap him up and maybe give him a
Exactly,
hug, might
exactly,
lean in with the shoulder.
exactly.
This dude is somebody's father. I don't think he was at the game doing anything inappropriate. You know what I mean? Like, he was married to Lala at one
Right.
point. So
Yes, he was.
I don't it's just like, really? Come on, guys, really?
Wait, what did you just say, Seth? He was what?
He was married to Lala. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
he
So it's
was.
like, really, guys? Come on. Really, what are we talking about? So I don't know. I'm on the fence there. I'm glad to see the women kind of doing their own thing, but I think about how much respect Wilt Chamberlain gets for the 100-point game, right? Wilt's not even around to tell us about that now. We don't have any video of it, but we got a female walking around here still, and it wasn't professional, but dropped 100 on the school. Did she drop 102?
Yeah, it was 102.
I think she dropped 102, and she's nowhere around the game. Nowhere around the game. Most young women that play the game probably don't even know who Cheryl Miller is.
You wonder,
That's a shame. That's a shame to
is
me.
that by choice though? Like, because and we're gonna get to this eventually in our extended women's hoop edition. But you think Cheryl wanted to walk away to just say, "Look, I'll do exclusive interviews. I'll do this. She sticks her
Cheryl's
head
coaching.
in every once. Yeah,
Cheryl's coaching. She's
yeah.
coaching, but she's not around the WNBA. This is a living legend.
But is it by choice though?
Dropped 100. I don't know that it's by
I think
choice.
a lot of it's by choice.
I don't think so. It would be interesting to hear Cheryl, if you're out there and want to come on the show, we definitely love to have you join the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know, yourself, what keeps you away.
But you have some players, like I really appreciate what Swin Cash is doing in New Orleans. I think it's great.
Swin is also big up in trying to get a WNBA team back to Detroit, though, too.
That's right.
Swin, it's unfortunate. I'm happy for Swin. She's making her money. She's doing her thing. It's unfortunate that it has to be not in the WNBA. It's just unfortunate.
And maybe she's using that as a springboard to pour it back into the WNBA eventually.
Well, I mean, maybe the first thing that she has to take care of is generational wealth, and so I love and respect that. Go get the money, get the money, get the money, get the money, get the money. But if you get an opportunity like a Becky Hammon to kind of get that money and then come back to the WNBA, and I don't know how long Becky Hammon will be in the WNBA. Really, she win a couple more of these things. Becky may be headed right back down to San Antonio to take over for Popovich or Wembanyama.
Popovich is a trendsetter. Popovich is a difference maker. I'm not a huge fan of his coaching style. I've been very vocal about that, but I think that Greg Popovich has all of the intentions of being the first to promote, support, and put a woman head coach in the NBA. I absolutely agree. I think it will be Becky Hammon to the San Antonio Spurs.
I think so. Start it. That may be it. I think Becky, she definitely may be the first, but I also think that they're purposely putting a women's organization, a women's team in San Francisco with Stephen Curry on purpose. On purpose. It's not by accident that the next team is going to open in San Francisco. And it's not just about Steph, but I think it does have a lot to do with all the things that he has around women's basketball. Riley, I haven't seen if Riley plays yet. But she loves her dad. She loves her dad so much, and she does so much around her dad. I wouldn't be surprised if she played for a while. I don't know that she'll be a GG, just and take to the game like that. But I think that Steph has he keeps his eye on women's basketball and the pulse, and it's no accident that team is going to be in San Francisco where Steph Curry is at.
Mm-hmm.
With all of the things, I think he's the closest person that I see from the NBA, especially like active, that is anywhere close to doing the things that Kobe was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you see, his AAU team, when you hear my laser say that, she's been on the line with him, he got his finger on the pulse for sure.
Don't underestimate LBJ. Don't underestimate LeBron James getting a piece of whatever. And I'm not saying that in like that is only for the profit. I see LeBron James very active, tweeting and things like that about WNBA college basketball, women's college basketball. I think that he'll be one of those individuals to promote the game. I do. I think he'll be one of them.
So I think that LeBron will promote the game. I don't know that we'll see LeBron taking women under his wing and mentoring them. Now, what I think LeBron is in a great position to do, especially with his association with Rich Paul and Clutch Sports, is to change the narrative in the game on the money that these women are getting. So I can't wait for his agency to get a hold to the first woman that they negotiate for, and to see what Rich is able to do when the WNBA gets this TV money.
We already know who that's going to be.
Who do you think it's going to be? You think it's going to be UNESCO?
No.
Who do you think it's going to be?
I think it's going to be the pride of LSU right now. Will be Rich Paul's first client. He sees the marketability. I think Miss Reese is going to be his first major client that he's going to negotiate.
Rich Paul ain't no dummy. He may sign her, but that Caitlin Clark going to be the one to get that big money first.
Oh, yeah. If she hasn't already signed behind the scenes with somebody, she has a State Farm
Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark is going to be the one to get that TV money.
Yeah, she has a State Farm commercial. I mean, what are we doing here? Yeah.